Yes, thanks so much for joining us today for another episode of the Nonprofit Show. It's Wednesday, cannot believe, and we are in the home stretch of this wonderful year that has really provided so many twists and turns, but we definitely want to shout out our love, our gratitude, and all the endless support from these presenting sponsors that you see on the screen. We really are appreciative to have your partnership to elevate the conversation as all of our nonprofit leaders across the globe continue to navigate everything that this year has packed for us. So thank you so much. Please do give them some love. Go find them on the internet, social media, tell them that you saw us and you thank them for their support as well. Julia Patrick is here and she ran the show yesterday solo. You did a fabulous job. Julia Patrick is the CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy, and I am very fortunate to serve alongside Julia as her co-host. I'm Jarrett Ransom, also known as the Nonprofit Nerd, President and CEO of the Raven Group. And if you notice the yellow on today's show, you notice that today is another special episode, what we are now calling as the nonprofit thought leaders. So these are individuals that have been on our show before. They pack so much wisdom and expertise. There's been a lot of interest in having them back on this show. So they're a little bit more than a guest, right? They're really special and they really provide so much of their insight to support our sector. So today we'd like to welcome Kay McDonald, founder and CEO of Charity Charms. How are you, Kay?
I'm fabulous. Thank you. Good to see you.
So no pressure to lead in to call you a nonprofit thought leader, but I really do think you are.
Well, I'm very honored. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Well, you know, one of the things that I have been so intrigued watching your career and your meteoric rise and success over the years is that you've taken something that is something that we all know and kind of understand, the whole concept of charms, and then you've taken it into from the free market enterprise system and all that entails, and you've joined it with the nonprofit sector beautifully, and you bring to the nonprofit sector this amazing wisdom about commerce and customer service and marketing and all these things that we tend in the nonprofit sector to fall down on.
Right.
So that's what I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Okay, well, is this show over now?
No way. We were just scratching the surface, right? And the thing I also
talk about.
The other thing I want to witness to you, Kay, and I think I've said this in a previous episode, I am always amazed by how you continue to evolve your business and your products to continue to meet the demand in our sector, in our community, in our economy. Like everything that you do is so social profit centric, and that really shows. And in addition, I'd add to that, like the branding that your products provide our nonprofits, which again, nonprofit leaders, we're not branding experts. We're not social media experts. We are mission solution-based experts. And so you really have this tool and a resource that complements our sector, and it serves us so very well.
Well, thank you. I think a lot of it is my background is a retail marketing background. I was a department store buyer, and then I owned my own women's accessory business. And so I come at the nonprofit sector with a profit-centered objective to help nonprofits make a profit and fundraise in a different way.
Profit-centered. I love it.
I love it. And I think that's what the magic is that, a lot of times, and I don't know if this word is offensive to you or not, but we hear the whole thing about like swag, donor swag.
Right.
And, I get tired of, I don't need another pen or coffee mug or plastic thing. And that just has no meaning and is nothing that's going to kind of like weave into my life. But Charity Charms does. So talk to us briefly before we really delve into this about what that means. Like, what is the charm concept for you?
Okay. Well, this kind of evolved because I was already in the jewelry business and I did a lot of work with charities. I do fashion shows and give money back to charities, and I attended charity events and was on charity boards. And then also the whole trend of charms was coming back in style. And this was 17 years ago when I launched this concept. But I kind of looked at all these things, women going to these events, and there was never really anything that was special for them. And I thought, wouldn't it be lovely to create something that was meaningful, that people could actually wear every day, that would help brand and spread awareness for the charity. And charms for centuries have been worn by people to show their passions and their interests. You know, when you have a charm bracelet on, people go, well, what's that? Where's that from? And you get to talk about it. So it just seemed like the perfect marriage of, charms and charity to come together. And then I called it Charity Charms. So it just kind of evolved that way. But yeah, I've basically taken a century-old item, which is charms, and created a new application for them by making charms out of a charity's logo.
Wow. So I have to show this because this is a really cool image that I found, and I don't even know if you knew we were going to use this. So here is a charm bracelet, and on this charm bracelet, you see a lot of different organizations. So
yes,
what's really cool is you could blend a lot of different organizations that you support.
Yes.
But if you look closely up on the left-hand corner, and my grandmother had this, my grandmother Patrick, you see those silhouette heads, and they would engrave the grandchildren's and children's names on them.
Right.
Where did that come from?
Well, that's my grandmother's charm bracelet. That was the traditional charm bracelet. And I remember growing up, my grandmother sitting there, all the grandchildren sitting around her, and that charm bracelet constantly tinkling. And we'd all be like, Grandma, where are we? Where are we? Mm-hmm. And it was just like, it brought us all together. And that's also what charms can do, is they unite people. So whether they unite people in a family or they unite people to your cause, they are a wearable way to show passion and fun and love and,
What a beautiful story, Kay. As long as I've known you, I've never known that piece of your story. And as we speak of stories, the big thing for nonprofits is, how do we tell our story? What can we use to help tell our story? What's a new platform that we can, tap into to use our story? And what a great way to either, be in an event or even virtually, because I've been wearing one of my bracelets that I've received from your company. And Julia was like, I thought it was your dog shaking its head. And I'm like, no, it's all the jingle jangle that I'm wearing. And what a great story to talk about. And so there's so many ways that you can really incorporate your nonprofit story or nonprofits plural, in which you believe in and, provide support to in your community. It's a great way to open conversation and dialogue.
Yeah, I think charms are one of the best conversation starters there are, because you have them on and people notice them. Yeah.
And so, Kay, before I ask you my next question, when you are making charms for a client, I would imagine this is somewhat collaborative, because you have to take something that's iconic from that organization or their logo.
Yes.
What is the foundation of that charm?
Well, what we do, this is interesting. The way that I came up with Charity Charms was I was going to do just like generic charms, like a dog for a dog charity and a cross for a religious charity and a high heel for a woman's charity. And I had all the charity brochures laid out on my table. And I'll just give you an example here. Here's a little card. But it stood out to me. They all have these beautiful icons in their logos, which they've spent money on, and that defines their brand. And I thought, gosh, if we extract the icon out, which is the pretty part, and make that into the charm, which you can see right here, then that's going to be something that brands the charity, but it's also something beautiful. And then on the back, we can put all the information from the charity, that's in the rest of the logo, or if they want a tagline or something like that. So that's the kind of the premise of the design of the company. And then we work with each charity to figure out what shape would work best with their logo, what size. They may want to do a bigger charm, something large that goes on a keychain. So, and then we have a variety of products that you can put the charms on. So we tailor it to the organization and their needs, and then also try and tie in color for branding. So for example, this is 100 Women Who Care. These are their colors. We tied it in. We did a custom bracelet with the colors of their brand. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I love that you have products for everyone, right? This isn't gender specific. You really have products that serve every constituent demographic. And that to me goes back to how you continue to evolve your products, your business, your, everything that you provide to really meet the needs of our donors and of our community.
Thank you. I must tell you, it was a challenge at first because charms traditionally are for women, and people would be like, well, what do you have for the men? Mm-hmm. And so we did come up with keychains, and those are very popular. We have some unisex items, but I must say charms still are the most popular thing. And in the nonprofit demographic, I believe, and Julia, you probably know the statistics, but a lot of the giving comes 80% from women is what I've heard. The other thing is that if a man receives one of these, it makes him look like a hero when he gives it to the woman in his life. So it's kind of a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, men are a lot more flexible around the world about jewelry, and we call it man jewelry or whatever. You're seeing that more and more. I mean, yeah. I think it's kind of one of those things. I really do. I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to put you in the hot seat as you are a nonprofit thought leader. Can you talk to me about peer-to-peer fundraising? Because this is like one of those things that some groups do it really well, others don't. There's somewhat of a mystery to it. And I would love to know what, Kay McDonald's take is on it, along with how Charity Charms has seen this really grow.
Right. Well, I think peer-to-peer fundraising has definitely had to grow because of the pandemic, because there hasn't been the human interacting. And so peer-to-peer fundraising is basically a multi-tiered approach to crowdfunding. So it's when an individual creates personal fundraising pages and goes out to fundraise for the charity. So if you look at, if you can engage 100 of your supporters to go out and fundraise to 100 of their friends, then it's just a multiplier. And this has been an especially effective way to fundraise since crowd-raising started. And there's lots of different platforms that are out there that have really perfected it. And I know charities use a lot of them, but some of the main ones are Donor Drive. Classy.org has a platform. Double the Donation has a platform. And so these are already things that are set up. They're usually pretty easy to integrate, and they are totally enhanced if when you ask for a donation, you also give a gift. Because once the donation comes in and everyone loves to give a donation, then it's even more effective when they get a thank you in the mail that has something lovely that they can wear or use that shows that they donated. And again, that just enhances it, because they may put the bracelet on and go to a luncheon or something, and or just their family members, because we're not all doing luncheons right now. But they share their giving story, and then they can refer people back to their fundraising platform. And it's kind of that word of mouth, just basic telling people why you're passionate about a cause. So the cause isn't going out and having to broadcast their own story. You've got all these wonderful people out there broadcasting for you.
Other ambassadors.
Ambassadors, yes.
Okay, is sharing their giving story. And that for a nonprofit is super successful when you can have someone else tell your story.
Absolutely.
And I am really intrigued with the concept of adding on to peer-to-peer this notion of an appreciation gift. And
Mhm.
I gotta believe that you're kind of on the leading edge of this, because we see a lot of these peer-to-peer fundraising pieces, around someone's birthday or anniversary or celebration of something.
Mhm.
And yet we're not seeing that appreciation. And so talk to me about that, using an appreciation gift and what that does.
Right. Well, I think it's so hard for nonprofits to stand out in the crowd these days. Everyone is asking the same people for the same dollars, and so how are you going to get people to listen to you, respond to you? And sometimes a gift initiative is a way to stand out, or even an unexpected gift after the donation also encourages them to redonate, maybe in a bigger way, or to tell people about it. And then also, like this bracelet that's pictured here, I actually have it right here. It's a sterling silver bracelet. And this is given to the graduates of Take the Lead when they go through their nonprofit course. So it's something that they can wear and be members, show that they're members of a very wonderful organization that they participated in.
Yeah, this was started by Gloria Felt, and
Yes.
it's a women's empowerment training project. She is based in New York, and I actually, Kay, I don't think you know this, but I was at one of their first graduations where they gave these.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. And throughout the years, when I see those women that are wearing that, I'm like, holy moly, that's one of the graduates.
Right. And
And
it's not only just donors, but it's volunteers, it's committee members, it's board members. One of the things that nonprofits are known for, and what makes them strong, is that they have people donate their time. They donate their time, their energy, their love. They can't always donate money, but statistics have shown that the way to maintain your volunteer workforce is to make sure that they know that they're appreciated, and giving them something like this that they can wear, talk about what they do, and their involvement is, it works. Just works.
It goes back to what I've been preaching for so long, is this return on relationship, right?
Oh,
And really just like, yeah, so above and beyond the return on investment, it's that relationship, and people give because there's a relationship, first of all, because they're asked, but then really goes down into that relationship piece. And what a better way to show your appreciation, than something like this that really speaks to the mission of what they, which they support. And I just think, it really elevates that relationship piece. And I feel there's a lot of nonprofits missing that. So many are still sending that same template responder that, if you're an ongoing donor, more or less a monthly donor, you're getting the same template 12 times a year.
Right.
That's not customized.
Right. I think especially during the pandemic, nonprofits have to find a way to stand out from the crowd. Julia, you have the current statistic, but how many nonprofits are there in the US right now? Is it like 1,800,000?
The number runs about 1.8 million.
Yeah.
And then the concept, we have to go through the IRS in this country to become certified as a nonprofit, or we use the word designated, which means that other donors can get a tax advantage to that. So there are a lot more than that registration number.
Yeah.
Because we have everything from little leagues to organizations that are in a neighborhood that never file or never get organized. And part of that large number too is, organizations that are super small. They're a passion project. They might have, 3 members.
Right.
And then, pardon me, like tomorrow, we have on the CEO of the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. That is a multi-million-dollar organization that does work globally. And so they're part of that 1.8 million number. I mean, so we have all of these, it's a crazy soup of different levels.
Well, and it's a definite marketing challenge to stand out and capture, keep current donors' attention and capture new donors' attention.
Yeah. Talk about that a little bit then, in the time we have left. With this pandemic, and there have been new strategies that we've all had to take with this, I would imagine that donor that received the keychain hadn't had anything like that. They'd had what you just described, the mailbox of the letters or
in the template forms.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that would have happened, let's say last year, or do you think this was like pandemic driven, that they had to do something out of the box?
Well, I think possibly just out of the box, yeah. And I think it's right now it's probably the 80-20 rule. I mean, you really should be looking at who your donors are and making sure that they understand your needs, because so many nonprofits are hurting so badly. And this charity was one that supplies food. And that's an integral service. And they so need more donor engagement. And so when everyone is trying to tell their story, so many stories can get lost. So if there's any way, that you can get out there and really make a personal connection with your top 20% of your donors, I think that's really important.
I love that you put a number to it, Kay. I think that's really amazing. Well, you talked about, charms in action, and you talked about this keychain thing, which I just think is like so inspiring. What are some other things that might have been unexpected pleasures or results that you've seen and I'm calling it charms in action, like how this is working?
Well, we get lots of stories from lots of different charities on how they've worked, how they've helped donors, how they've raised funds. We also have an added part to what we're doing that has really increased over the pandemic that I want to share is charity charms. We try to employ charities to make the items for other charities. And so we started an alliance with a charity called Seeds for Autism that now makes all of the items that go to the charities. So not only are the charities receiving the items that they can then give away, but we're impacting a local charity and helping them stay alive during the pandemic. I'm also noticing too that people are starting to make a lot of their own jewelry and starting their own social entrepreneurial endeavors within charities, which I think is fantastic and is a new way for them to figure out what ways to bring in revenue. So for Charity Charms, we are also helping charities that want to do that. We can provide like a whole kit with all the parts and pieces, and they can start their own social enterprise. So that's one example of charms in action that we actually hadn't done before.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. And again, I had no idea that this was happening. So another evolution of Charity Charms that just keeps getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Really interesting. Well, it's been fun to follow you with your career and the integral services and leadership that you bring to the sector across the country. I mean, I know because you live in my community, I get to see you more than most, but the things that you do across the nation, it's really profound. And truly you are a thought leader. I want to give everybody Kay McDonald's information, charitycharms.com. Kay, you have your own charm school. You have your own video series that you've been producing.
Yeah.
And those are all available on your website, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And so in that series, you interview different people that talk about their experiences, how they worked with you. Maybe they haven't worked with you, but they're leaders, within the sector. It's really great. I've really enjoyed it. So kudos to you, as Jarrett would say.
It's been a fun new project for this interesting, intriguing year.
Good. A great way to connect. And I'm going to put a plug out there for you, Kay, that for those of you that want to consider Charity Charms or really just want to know what that might look like, and before you build your budget next year, contact Kay, go to her website, see what she could do for you and your organization. Go ahead and get a quote, see what that, budget line item needs to be so that you can integrate this into your relationship building, your donor stewardship, your appreciation, outreach. Give Kay a contact, let her know that, hey, I saw this on the nonprofit show. I want to know more of how you can help me tell my story.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Can consult with somebody on your team and then get some ideas for what the cost could be, because I assume it just ranges dramatically.
It does range. And one of the major things that we focus on is finding a sponsor to underwrite your whole program so there's no cost to the charity. Because then we have a special bead that we put on with the sponsor name. We include the sponsor's name and acknowledgement and all the packaging and all the marketing. So it's also a great cause marketing platform.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Fully sustainable because it's underwritten.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Thank
Well,
you.
hey, Kay, it has been great to have you on. It's like hard to believe that our time is up. Again, here's Charity Charms information. I'm Julia Patrick, CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy, joined today by the nonprofit nerd herself, Jarrett Ransom, CEO of the Raven Group. Again, thank you so much for the support of our sponsors. Without you, we would not be here with our national dialogue. Coming up on our 200th episode, which is going to be a special birthday party. And Kay McDonald, I think, is going to be on that birthday party show. So
she'll be at the party.
Yeah, she'll be at the party, along with many other thought leaders throughout the sector across the globe. So we're excited to be sharing that with you. Again, Kay, thank you so very much for all you do, all you continue to do, and showing us the light on how we in the nonprofit sector can spread, our message and build value. So we're very, very appreciative.
Thank you so much. I love being your guest. And I was going to tell my dog to sit here and give you a bark out for the good work you're doing.
Yes.
She's run away.
I love that you received an amazing package at your front door.
Yes.
Amazon is our friend.
Yes.
I just got to say. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Hey, everybody, as we always like to end every show, we're going to remind you one more time, and probably will continue to remind you, stay well so you can do well. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.